Young Junk!
What's up to our sidekicks and
Mouth
in
sounds.
the Geek Nation? And thank you for tuning in to one of the longest running pop culture and comic book podcasts in the world, CultPop Podcast Live, episode 116. If you're new here, let me just say welcome, and I think you look great. This is a place where we talk about comics and movie and TV and toe-tapping tunes and all the other things that scratch your dirty little itches. Tonight, we're broadcasting to you live-ish from Young Chunk HQ, a bomb-ass podcast production space here in beautiful downtown Manayunk, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex. Hey, Alice, well, what's Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex?
Oh my God. I thought you'd never ask. It's a super rad comic shop which caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes, sizes, and genders.
Are you saying that or reading that?
I say it and read it. I'm doing both.
Touche.
I can talk.
Son of a bitch.
I learned how to read.
Out loud. Located at
Mouth
5327.
Mouth sounds.
With me tonight is the co-host of your other favorite podcast, Inside the Morgue.
Hi.
Alice.
They let me out today.
Outside the morgue.
Outside the morgue.
You're outside the morgue
Got it.
tonight. Also here is Noah.
No.
Oh, no.
Hey.
Whatever.
Yeah.
In the booth is our trusty expert producer, Dylan.
Oh.
Dylan.
When
That's how you say it, right? Dylan?
Exactly.
It's like
right.
killing, but Dylan.
should
Yeah.
we make this this show? Should we change the title of the show?
Should we make the show? Yes.
Should we change the
Let's do
title
it
of the
right
show? The Cult Pop Podcast : Outside the Morgue.
Outside the morgue.
Yes.
Every episode is.
Because
Yes,
when
if
you're
we're
here,
lucky.
you're not in
we're
the
lucky,
morgue
we're
and you're
outside the
here.
morgue. Yeah.
Yeah. But when we invariably do die, we're gonna change the title to Inside the Morgue.
If we die, will you do like a special episode for us?
I
And talk
legally cannot be in the room for your exam.
Oh, she's do an episode.
You can. What
you can
about
talk about it.
illegally?
Can you?
I never said anything about legally.
I like creeping.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
He's dead.
And then
Oh, hey, Dylan.
Rockets.
If anyone's watching or listening wants to know more about Young Chunk HQ, the people who make this here live stream and also Inside the Morgue, how can they inquire about those things?
You can inquire by reaching out to me via email, which you can find at the bottom of your screen, dylan@youngchunk.com, and hit me up, and we'll start a podcast. It'll be fun.
also pronounced Dylon.
Dylon
Or Dylan.
or Dylan.
Dylan.
Tonight, we're going to share our favorite movie soundtracks with one
true.
another. You're not privy to it.
It's like you're here.
We're going to share with each other, so don't listen in. It's a secret. Shh. Some of them might be surprising. You'll just have to wait and see. But before we discover how many of us picked The Crow in our top 5, we're going to talk about some other stuff we've been enjoying this past week in a segment I like to call What's Poppin'. But first, a gentle reminder, if you're here live, feel free to comment, like, subscribe. And if you're not here live...
If you're watching this live, comment.
Yeah,
like,
if you are
subscribe, let's go.
alive...
Yeah.
No matter how you're watching this, if you're living, do those things.
If you have fingers and/or an assisted typing
Let's not be
machine,
ableist.
let me finish the whole sentence. An assisted typing machine, and you want to contribute to the ongoing conversation that we provide in a safe pop culture space, get in the chat.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Also,
Let's go.
email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com.
That's all. We don't have emails this week. That's it. Hey, have a good night.
Yeah.
We don't have emails tonight.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
sorry.
Yell at you.
But
Watch your stuff. Eat your vegetables. Brush your teeth.
we nailed it, I think. I think that went
Our
swimmingly.
best work.
Yeah.
Did you record that?
Yeah. Are we live?
Are you live?
Record.
Now we're going to move on to the portion of the show that I like to call What's Poppin', wherein I ask my friends and co-hosts. What is that?
Noel lost his mind.
I want to know what's poppin'. Hey, Noel. Hey, Noel, what's been popping with you this week?
I have
Cackling maniac?
I have an answer to this, but I want to remember something that I still quote to this day that no one else knows about.
Oh.
Well, everyone knows about it, but just no one knows the specific reference, or they do, but they don't. You know, whatever. So,
Tell us.
Wow.
so season 2 of the revival of Mystery Science Theater 3000, the second Netflix season, The Gauntlet. One of the films that they did was Mac and Me.
Oh
Yes, yes. Push her off the cliff.
Yeah.
There is a specific line in that one from the robots that I still cackle when I think about.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in the movie where the kid in the wheelchair is going to bed and someone is backing out of the room creepily. And do you remember this?
Yeah.
One
All
of the
I
robots
remember is the scene that Paul Rudd always shows on late
one
night
of the
TV.
one of the robots, it was either Tom or whatever.
Servo?
Tom or Crow. One of the robots made the joke doing dialogue for the creepy person leaving the room. And it's, I don't know if I can do this with a face on. Rest well, sweet Eric, in your squeal chair.
That's like the Crypt Keeper.
Yes, it did. They did a Crypt Keeper of and I guess the kid's name is Eric. Who'd have known? But it was, and still to this day, when like Sam's walking to the other room, I'll be like, "Rest well, sweet Eric, in your squeal chair."
That's awesome.
Is that ableist?
Yeah, probably.
It was from a TV show that's very.
If you're
woke.
only referencing it, is it okay?
I'm referencing the robots
Yeah,
who are racist
that's right.
and ableist
So
and incredibly unwoke. You know what? I actually think Tom Servo supports Donald Trump.
supports what?
My God.
Trump? Is that what he said? Supports Trump. He's a Trumper? He's got the hat?
I mean, he's a half of a commerce machine, a gumball machine. So why not? Yeah,
Speaking of red hats,
make gumball machines great again.
Costa was talking about Dead Before Daylight,
Off the fucking rails.
Yes.
a video
Sorry.
game, Dead
Yes,
Before
yes.
Daylight. And so I was like, oh my God, I have that at home.
Yeah.
Dead
by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight. And I remembered that I had it at home on my Switch, and so I reloaded it and started playing it again. And because I never really played it the first time, and you can pick different outfits and stuff for your different characters, including Scream. I downloaded the Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers and Ghostface. But when you're playing a survivor, nice earrings. When you're playing a survivor, you can have different outfits, and there's a couple of different baseball caps you can choose. When you put on the red one, the description is that you're begging for attention, which that has to be a reference to
I don't know.
the red hat, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, what's popping with you this week?
Yeah. So,
Maniac.
this is the last time I will mention this. My wife and I have been watching Twin Peaks for the first time, and we finally finished. We finished Twin Peaks: The Return. It lives rent free in my head.
Like squeal chair.
Yes. There's
You got it.
there's
I'm sorry.
next to it.
stop
It's
laughing.
literally Eric in his squeal chair in the waiting room for the Red Lodge.
Yeah.
Talking backwards.
Your mind.
next to the
Swap.
next to the
Sniff,
recast
swap.
arm that is a tree with a globule with a mouth on it and electricity. Anyway, the show is masterful, but also incomprehensible.
Is that part of the charm? Do you
yeah.
wish it was comprehensible?
So I found myself likening it to poetry.
Yeah.
It's not a clear narrative and is very, very obsessed with emoting and vibes.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of forced to intuit what they're trying to do. Because there are episode 8, half of it is a weird kind of
Of the return?
of the return. It's an 18 episode, third season, 25 years later.
You say 18 episodes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's this weird, like half of the episode is the plot of ongoing plot, and then the other half is, I guess, the visual representation of the origin of modern evil that stems back to the first atomic bomb, which begat true hate that birthed the Bob, which is the manifestation of evil, and in the White Lodge, which is their version of heaven. Dylan, tell me if I'm even on the right path. Their version of heaven, which is the White Lodge, deciding to also create the anathema of the new modern evil in the form of a pure soul, which may or may not happen to be Laura Palmer. And it's this whole thing where it just like shoots it at Earth, and no dialogue, weird shit happening, people floating, manifestations in cages. It is like, it's a tone poem, but visual. So we're watching it and nothing's actually happening, but also at the same time, everything is happening.
It's also kind of crazy that he waited for The Return to do that.
I think that's how it happened. So at the end of season, in Fire Walk With Me? No, at the end of season 2, we find Dale Cooper in the waiting room for the Black Lodge. Which is when you see anything on the show, the red curtains and the checkered floor. Yeah. That's the waiting room for the Black Lodge, and the Black Lodge is hell?
Do you ever get
Question
into
mark?
the Black Lodge?
We never see it.
You're always in the waiting room, talking backwards.
Yeah. Well, everyone else talks backwards. Dale never has to talk backwards or whatever. I don't even understand why that is, but whatever. What was I saying? Oh, he is in the waiting room, and a doppelganger and or manifestation that looks exactly like Laura Palmer, a reverse talk says, "I'll see you in 25 years." They filmed that in 92.
Thank you. Oh, that was important. I didn't know that.
They filmed that in 92.
Oh.
And then the show wasn't renewed. And
okay.
So
they're using that's cool.
I think that was just them like throwing out something.
Yeah.
And then, around 22 years later, after saying he doesn't want to do it anymore, David Lynch was like, oh, maybe that's an in. And then they created this whole show based off of, we had that line and now this is a thing. And so it just became this weird exercise in media. It is a weird show.
So
and I loved every second of it.
There it is.
It also ends.
Thank you.
It ends in a beautifully frustrating way.
I mean, yeah.
It gives all the closure, but also none of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't stop thinking about it.
Wow.
You need to watch this.
I was
more
gonna
than
say.
anyone else. You need to watch this. It's so
She's
weird.
insane.
Well, I think it requires a kind of hyper fixated attention.
I see.
I got a ton of that.
Yeah, that's not even a dig.
That's all I
And
got.
honestly, too, if I wasn't dialed in to the right degree, then I probably wouldn't. It would just fly by me as just navel gazing bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that David Lynch just presents it all, and it's matter of fact at the same time as being obtuse, and I don't know how to process that. And I just like feeling like that.
I can't tell
It's
if
so
I'm
good.
if I'm halfway through episode 1.
I honestly
Still,
don't know if you
for
should even
years
keep
now.
going. I like, it's so weird. It's like a weird wavelength or club that not everyone has to be a part of. Like everyone's just like, you have to watch it. It's the best thing ever. Do this. I don't know who I will ever recommend Twin Peaks to. At least like it's just.
It is such a cultural milestone that I feel obligated to give it a full chance.
Do you have the bandwidth to give it a full chance?
I am halfway through episode 1 still.
There are
So-
40 more episodes.
Yeah.
So if it's not vibing, it's not vibing.
Yeah.
And the thing about it too is it's so niche and it's so specific and confident in how niche and specific it is. It's genuinely not for everybody. And that's okay. Like it's a very, very weird piece of content that I'm so glad I spent the time on. But I wouldn't recommend it to my family. I wouldn't recommend it to, like, it's just such a weird fucking
Like if
show.
Sushan was into it, I'd be all in. But the fact that I'd probably have to watch it all by myself after my family goes to sleep, I don't think Sushan would be interested.
I also think it's the kind of thing that you have to be introduced to at the right part of your life, because if I started watching it in college, it probably would have pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because at that point in my life, I was more intent on understanding the rules, not how it's all broken and how you could reinterpret them. So it just would probably come off as pretension.
Yeah.
But now
that's
it's like,
that's how I've come at David Lynch for a while now, ever since I was like a teenager.
I think I'm
just felt
finally
like, it's weird for weird's sake, blah, blah, blah.
I used to think that, and I think I've been wrong this whole time.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Isn't that it's a good feeling?
I'm gonna go back and watch some more stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I love going back and like finally experiencing something in a new way.
It flipped a switch in my brain. I have seen Eraserhead. I've seen Elephant Man. I've seen Blue Velvet. I've seen Mulholland Drive. I've seen Lost Highway, and they all left me cold. Now I don't know if I've seen them.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
It's like when there's, I've said this before, but like you listen to a certain band, you don't care about a certain band, and all of a sudden you hear a song,
It clicks.
and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh, I love this band now
And
because
then
you have the
back
in.
catalog it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go buy all the albums.
I adored it. The entirety of the show, the three seasons are on Paramount Plus. Season 1 and 2 were on ABC in 91 and 92, or 90 and
Was
91.
that early?
Yeah, 90 and 91. And then
Late 90s.
the movie, which is a prequel to the show, is available on Max because it's on the Criterion, the place to watch for HBO. And then The Return, which was originally on Showtime, is on Paramount Plus. It is tonally very, very different than the original show because it's very gory. They curse. There's nudity. Like it's an adult show that's a continuation of a primetime soap opera, which is
To be
very
fair,
weird.
even just from watching the part of the first episode that I've seen so far, I was like, this was on television?
Yeah.
This was on just a regular TV? Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend.
Jamie Blood, talk to her about it.
Yeah.
She's a big fan.
Oh, I'm also in the Return. Last thing, I'm so sorry, I'm going too long. In The Return, the end of almost every episode is a musical number in the Roadhouse, which is the bar/club at Twin Peaks, and it's a recognizable artist every time.
Oh, fun.
So every single episode ends with like the Chromatics doing a full song, or Nine Inch Nails doing a full song.
What?
Oh, that's cool.
Eddie Vedder doing a full song.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
and the way it's presented is, and now introducing Nine Inch Nails, and just a bunch of hillbillies watching Nine Inch Nails in a small room.
Fine.
It is so weird and wonderful. But they have that soundtrack, songs from the Roadhouse.
Yeah.
I want it on vinyl tomorrow.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all like, it's basically like a David Lynch
Are they- let me ask you.
mixtape.
These performances,
Mhm.
are they just dubbed, or are they doing an actual performance for the cameras? Like if you're to buy
Doing an
this
actual
album,
performance for the cameras, I think. Well, you mean, did they record it live? No idea.
that's what I'm asking. Because like if you get this album, is it just those songs that they've already played before, or is it like
I mean, I don't.
these versions of?
I
those
didn't
songs?
go deep enough to know if they are songs that previously existed on other albums and how they existed. They're just there in the Roadhouse, and I'd never heard any of them, including the Nine Inch Nails songs. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Hey Alice, what was popping for you this week?
I watched a movie for another podcast that I'm on.
You're on another podcast.
when you
know.
weren't outside, you were inside.
I was inside the morgue watching Anatomy of a Fall from 2023. And it was very, very good. Very, very good.
It was up there for Best Picture last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is like a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's basically, it's like I don't want to just say it's a courtroom drama. There are some really good courtroom scenes, but it's a drama about whether or not a woman pushed her husband, or if he fell, or if he intentionally jumped off of the roof. And it gets a lot into blood spatter and forensics and
there it is.
just like courtroom, like expert testimony, and how the defense can have expert testimony, but so can the prosecution, and how that goes back
like
and
that.
forth. And it's fascinating. It is very, very good.
I like a good courtroom.
It's a very, very good movie.
This was Jeff Kanata's #1 movie of that year.
Was it?
It was
I'll watch it.
fantastic. Yeah.
If Jeff Kanata likes it,
Then I'll watch it.
Yeah.
JD's on.
I don't want to say too much without to give it away, but it's
Everyone dies.
very, very good.
No?
Yeah. Everybody.
Everyone dies.
Was that the woman from
Hooler. So everyone in this movie was nominated and almost won, or won a bunch of awards. This was a big contender last year.
Yeah.
So it was on my radar, but I've yet to have a chance to watch it. What's it on? Did you have to rent it? Is it on
Can't remember.
Hulu?
It's Hulu, right?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hulu. Did you watch it, Dylan?
I did.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Did you watch it for the
American
show?
Psycho?
No, I watched it a while ago,
might be.
and then I found out that they were doing it, and I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, we brought it up because I think somebody had recommended it to us, and we were talking about doing it. You're like, oh, that's a good movie. I was like, all right, we got to do it now.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Great courtroom scenes.
Great courtroom
Yeah,
scenes.
really.
A lot in French, so you got to, like, unless you speak French, you got to really pay attention to the subtitles, but it didn't take away from it for me.
I don't
Nah,
think she
yeah.
was.
No, I don't think she looks like the woman who was in.
She does look like her.
American Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for putting that on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
So highly recommend.
Yes, highly recommend.
Awesome.
What about you, Jonathan Destructo?
I'll tell you, I was watching. So, you know how you'll watch a show and Sam won't give a shit, and then all of a sudden, she'll just sort of like
What's
sit
going on
down
over there?
and, who's this guy? What's that guy doing? What's happening over here? It's just
Yeah,
like
that's me.
your other person will just get in. Does this happen with you and Costa? Like you'll watch a thing and Costa's like, I don't give a shit. But then all of a sudden he's like,
I'm usually the person that's like,
and then
"Wait,
you're
what?"
like, why
oh,
are you
you're the
eating that
person.
so loud?
Yeah.
He's rewatched. He loves Oppenheimer, and I've still never seen it in its entirety.
That was our first little mandate.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
That was
And
a
I
good
like,
movie.
I know, I need to watch it. I didn't
Florence
watch it for
Pugh.
reasons, but I like he'll be watching it sometimes, and I'll be like doing something in the other room, and I'll like poke in. I'm like, wait, what's she doing here?
You Oppenheimer?
I'm like, and I'll like sit on like the edge of the couch. I won't like fully sit on it. I'm like acting like, oh, I'm gonna get up in a minute, and then I like sit and watch some scenes, and I'm like, all right.
Tell him
Is
he
it-
can Oppenheimer.
Is it specifically Oppenheimer, or is it all Nolan movies?
For that I don't watch.
Costa.
Oh, I don't know. He specifically really loves Oppenheimer.
I was gonna say, how did he feel about Tenet? Because I wasn't on that show.
Oh, he
Tenet
didn't
was
watch
so-
Tenet.
I love
He hasn't
Tenet.
watched Tenet yet.
I want to watch
I
it
love
with him.
Tenet.
I want
Yeah.
to watch it with him.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's all get together and watch
I've-
it right now. Bye, guys.
We have a long list of movie night movies.
That's true.
I'm not going to rewatch them yet.
Oh, so anyway, Zushan was watching a show.
Yeah, sorry.
We watched the first episode together, and I was like, "Oh, this is cute." It's like a Duplass Brothers joint on Max, the one to watch for HBO. It's called Somebody Somewhere, and we just finished up season 3. And so it is a show that we watched an episode or two of, and I was like, "Oh, this is charming enough." I don't know if I care. It's very slice of life. It's sort of a dramedy. And then I just found myself over 3 seasons, like I would go to the bathroom and come back and she'd have it on, or I'd come home from the podcast and she would just have it on after watching the live stream. And so I would just sit down and start be like, hey, what's going on? What's happening? So this just wrapped up, and this is a really fun show. Somebody Somewhere is, let's see, what's the internet say about it? It says, Sam is a true Kansan on the surface, but beneath it all struggles to fit the hometown mold. Grappling with loss and acceptance, she discovers herself and a community of outsiders who don't fit in, but don't give up. Created by Hannah Boss and Paul Thierine, and it stars Bridget Everett, Jeff Hiller, and Matthew Catherine Garrison.
Mary Catherine Garrison.
Mary Catherine Garrison. What did I say?
Catherine.
So yeah, Bridget Everett, she's been in a couple of movies, a couple of comedies, and it really is a story about this. I don't want to call her a broken woman, but she is a goddamn mess. At several times throughout all the seasons, I kind of go, man, she's just a mess. And it's this woman who one of her sisters has passed away, and she now lives in her sister's place, and it's about mourning her sister and her other sister. They just don't get along at all, and it's so through the course of these 3 seasons, it's them sort of connecting for the first time, and just the ins and outs of the lives of her and her family, and these friends that she sort of just makes. She kind of has this found family of friendship. With this guy, sorry, the trailer's playing on the screen. It's probably Jeff Hiller.
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah. And it's just like a very strange cast of characters, but they're all charming in their own way. And she's straight from what I can tell, but like her entire friend group is not. They're all sort of like queer in different ways and dealing with their own struggles. And it's hard to explain or recommend because I don't know who this show is for, but it's also very delightful.
Sometimes specificity is relatable. So even if you don't have the exact experience of a person, if they are very specific about it in the content, then you relate to it because you just relate to specificity as a whole. So no, you don't have to be an overweight Kansan who's suffering with probably PTSD and trauma, loss trauma with a queer friend group to enjoy a show about it, or like at least see yourself in a show about it. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's very slice of life. Like there's nothing big and crazy happening. It's just the lives of these people and just trying to find themselves in their probably 40s. So yeah, it's really, really nice.
It sounds
like a
sweet.
sweet show, but it's also a bit of a downer sometimes. As opposed to Ray, who works at the shop, is just now finally watching Ted Lasso.
I've never seen.
It's so goddamn good. It's
I
good.
don't have
And
Apple
it's so
TV.
pleasant.
Sorry.
Ugh.
Thanks.
But anyway,
Gotta get it.
it kind of reminds me of this, but like
There's like a 7-day trial.
darker. Just do it.
You can literally watch all 3 seasons in a weekend and then feel like a better person.
Yeah.
Nice.
Highly
Alright.
recommend Ted Lasso.
Just
So yeah,
wait till you have a good weekend.
if you're into slice of life dramedies, Somebody Somewhere is a really solid, quick, breezy 3 seasons.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
definitely
nice.
recommend. So that's what was popping for us this week. How did this come up, Noel? The soundtrack.
So we
was
were-
this a Saint Saucy
No, this was us. We were trying to come up with like
just friendship?
an evergreen kind of fun
I think we were
topic.
talking about soundtracks because of Twilight.
Twilight. That's
I'm
what
so
it was.
sorry,
It
yeah.
was Twilight.
Yeah, but
Twilight's
we
everything.
also were like, oh, let's do brackets, but that's
Yeah.
wildly inefficient because there's a bajillion.
Yeah.
And like I did some pre-research about like a bracket of like let's rank soundtracks, but like the top 20 or 30 of all time, it's either arbitrary or based on sales, and those aren't super fun to talk about.
Mine has nothing to do with sales. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
yeah, those aren't necessarily super fun to talk about. So figured we'll just do a round robin of our top 5. Some
Well, you got rules here.
yeah, we got rules.
So the rules are
Lots and lots and lots of rules. No, sorry.
That's how I live.
film scores and film themes do not count. That's a whole other show.
We could do that separately.
Additionally, soundtracks for movies that are adaptations of stage productions, i.e.
Hamilton,
Hamilton, or musicals are also
or-
exempt.
West Side Story, Bye Bye Birdie. Those are all stage productions first. One of my favorites. Wicked was a stage production first. It does not count in this. Little Shop of Horrors. Those were all stage productions first. That's
Wait a
my
minute.
favorite musical.
Wait a minute. I thought the very first movie that's based on a play as well.
No, there was a movie,
Yeah.
and then they made a musical off Broadway,
Musical.
and the musical
The original was a
movie is
with
yeah,
yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Nicholson. Yeah. We're focusing on music and lyrics created for or curated exclusively for a major motion picture.
One more thing. If anybody doesn't know what a score and theme are, this list will not have John Williams on it.
Skeedly-dee.
It will not have Danny Elfman. It will not have Hans Zimmer. Those are film scores and themes. These are tracks.
We could do a
cuts,
whole other. At least
needle
you and I
drops.
could do a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Can you do? Do you like scores?
yeah.
Oh, fuck off! Great. You're in. Let's do it.
I almost said How to Train Your Dragon on mine, but
It's a great score.
it's a score. Yeah.
Goldsmith?
Akiva.
No, Howard Goldsmith.
Yeah. Who am I thinking? Akiva.
Akiva Goldsmith.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, it's not an uncommon name.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting choice, though. Akiva Goldsmith. We will go around the room and share each one selection and discuss until we were all revealed. Maybe there will be overlaps in picks, but we'll deal with that when we get to it.
From 5 to 1?
5-1.
Who wants to go first?
Honorable mentions are allowed before final picks are shared.
I start. All
I
right.
pick you. I choose you to go first.
Daredevil, 2003.
Yes! Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, that.
Why? Why?
Go.
Purely because it's what got me into Evanescence. Yes, literally.
Only those 2 songs.
Those I went
My Immortal's on there too, right?
My Immortal. Those 2
Oh.
songs got me into Evanescence, which I still love. And JD got me the vinyl for
For
my
birthday.
not of the Daredevil of an Evanescence 20th
I was gonna
anniversary
say, like,
vinyl.
there's a Daredevil soundtrack
Sorry.
on vinyl?
It clicked in my head and I didn't say it out loud. But yeah.
Yeah.
I was
No,
She picked up
Fallen.
the
I
chromatic.
was here
Yeah.
and then I was down
I'm
here.
so sorry. But yeah, no, that's I freaking loved this movie when I was 10, and I still kind of freaking love it. But it's purely because of the soundtrack that I like really.
Daredevil
Takes
the
it up.
album. Fuel, Saliva, Nickelback,
I forgot. Oh my god, I forgot.
Evanescence, Hoobastank,
It's
The Calling, Seether, Autopilot, Endo, 12 Stones, Finger 11. This is a early new metal emo kid
It's
wet
new.
dream.
Yeah, that's
of an
what I
album.
was.
Chevelle's on here.
Emo
Moby,
kid.
I don't know half of the names you just said.
What?
Rob Zombie. Well, you're old.
I know Rami Zombie. Yeah,
You're an old man.
I'm an Oldman. I'm a Gary Oldman.
Excellent pick.
So my story that I tell every time it comes up is that I love the Daredevil movie unabashedly, even though it's kind of garbage. I still love it.
It's not kind of garbage.
It's kind
Garbage
of
or
garbage.
trash?
It's
It's
trash.
a little bit trash and a little bit garbage.
It's more trash than garbage. It's a fun sit, but a dumb movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was married at the time. I think I was married at the time.
You're still married now. Just
A different lady. And so I remember we went and saw the movie, and we would often drive around. The movie theater was very close. And so we would drive around, and then the Evanescence song, one of the two, would come on the radio as we were sort of driving past the movie theater, and we'd be like, should we just go see Daredevil again?
See it again.
Let's just go see Daredevil
Yeah.
again.
right.
And so, we would just go see Daredevil because we heard the Evanescence song
Incredible.
on the radio,
Power of suggestion.
right?
Yeah.
What's your 5?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still back on Daredevil.
No, we can't linger too long on one movie.
Where's my list? Oh, hold on, I'm not prepared.
you want me to
Wait, I
go?
didn't know we were doing this.
Do you want me to go?
You go.
Go. 1999.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
You've seen Go? Doug Lyman's Go?
No.
Sarah Pauly.
Sarah Pauly, Timothy Olyphant. It's an ensemble movie. It's Doug Lyman's follow-up after Swingers.
Yeah.
Incredibly fun movie, but this soundtrack is undeniable. This is like pure the edge of the millennia. So it's a new song from No Doubt, Natalie Imbruglia, Len, Fatboy Slim, all bangers. A couple of like a Steppenwolf remix, and then some techno. It's very 1999, and it still really holds up. It's very good soundtrack.
My number 5
Yep.
is Transformers the movie soundtrack. 1986, I believe.
We've got the touch.
You've got the power. Stan Bush, NRG, Vince DiCola, Stan Bush, Spectre General, Lion, Vince DiCola. So this, I will admit, there are a couple of score pieces on here. It's not just songs.
But
there's some score, like Optimus's Death, which gets me every time. Also, Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic.
And Devo, right? Isn't it with Devo?
Oh, is it? Is it Devo?
I thought it was. I'm sorry.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Or it's a Devo pastiche homage.
But yeah, I love it. Every so often I will just put this on in the store.
It's awesome.
Listen to it. So good.
JD brought props and he didn't let us know, so
Sorry.
we
don't have
all look like unprepared pieces of garbage.
Listen,
Number
to
4,
be fair,
Alice.
it's only because you're unprepared pieces of garbage.
Number 4.
Next.
Birds of Prey, 2020.
Oh, all right.
That was
Who's
so.
on
Birds
that?
of Prey was the last movie I saw.
That's not the whole title.
Yeah, what's the whole title, Alice?
I'm sorry.
What's
Well,
the whole title of the film?
title of the soundtrack of Birds of Prey, the album.
Ugh.
So I'm going off of that.
And the Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Fantabulous Emancipation,
of-
or the Emancipation of the Fantabulous Harley Quinn.
I don't
Yes.
know, man. Whatever.
Something
Anyway.
like that.
What's on that soundtrack?
Birds of Prey was the last movie I saw in 2020 before the world ended.
That was-
And also I just freaking loved the soundtrack. It became like my workout soundtrack for like that whole year. I think Boss Bitch was my top song.
By Doja Cat?
By Doja Cat was my top song of that year because I listened to these albums so much.
Megan Thee Stallion's on it.
Halsey?
Yeah,
Kate
Megan
Flay?
Thee Stallion.
Oh, I love K-Flay.
I loved Smile by Maisie Peters. Is one of my favorite songs still. It's just, I don't know. Oh, and the cover of Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Adana just gives me chills every time.
Nice.
Oh, man, I got to go check this out.
Yeah.
This looks like a banger.
Yeah, it's a banger.
I don't think I've ever paid attention to it.
It's a banger.
Do you want to do your 4th?
Yeah.
I'll do my, yes, I'll do my 4th.
Yeah, why not?
My 4th is, I got that one too. Hold on. Batman 1989,
Solid.
Should have been higher.
which is all Prince, all the time, forever.
Keep going.
Go ahead. I remember I had this on cassette tape, and I wore that shit out. And then I remember watching
He put it on a chain and wore it out
like
of the house.
Yeah,
he
like
wore
Flavor
it out.
Flav.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I fucking love this thing. Not all of the songs are that great. Lemon Crush, not a great song. But The Future, Electric Chair, Arms of Orion, not a good song. Party Man is I think the top tits on this one.
Ends with Bat Dance.
And Bat Dance. Oh, so good.
There's a meme going around about the soundtrack of just like Danny Elfman was just like, oh, we'll get Prince to do it. Then Prince disappears and then comes back with like, I thought you wanted sexy funk. and then just everyone's just like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, okay.
It does not compute with this movie whatsoever.
Nope.
But god damn it, we're gonna go with it. And honestly,
It's so good.
every almost on my list, Forever and Returns. There are like, or Forever Returns and every single Batman soundtrack has been banger.
Yeah.
Even the shitty Batman movies.
I thought
have
of
been
you
banger
as I was going
soundtracks.
through my records being like, oh, I bet he's going to pick Batman
I almost
Forever.
did. They're honorable mentions. But
What's your number 4?
my number 4 is Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist from 2008.
Ooh,
That's another good one.
Absolutely excellent soundtrack. It is a movie that hinges on its soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it's just so incredibly good. Vampire Weekend, Jerk Offs, Chris Bell, The Submarines, We Are Scientists, Band of Horses. Like it is very mid-aughts vibey and just it's indelible with the movie.
It's a cute little book, too. I read the novel it's based on.
All about it is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Go. Number 3.
3. Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Ah, nice.
Here I am, doing everything I can, holding on to what I am, thinking I'm a Superman.
I had so much fun playing this video game with my brother growing up, and it's just like so. Whenever
It's
I
such
hear
a good game.
it's such a good game. The music was so good, even though I sucked at the game. I just played
I
it.
had
to
this
listen
on
to the
vinyl.
music. You
Oh,
had
do you?
it on vinyl?
Nice.
Shut up.
Yeah, we play it.
So is
Damn
this the
it.
one with Amoeba on it?
I think it's the 1 and 2.
Amoeba. So my dumb story is that as long as I was playing that game, for some reason in my head, I thought they were saying Tony Hawk, Tony Hawk. They're saying Amoeba, which sounds nothing like Tony Hawk. But in my head, I'm like, Tony Hawk. So yeah, it's a good soundtrack though. Shut up, Dylan.
So that was that was your number 3?
That was my number 3.
What's your number 3?
Oh, my number 3.
Grab it quick! Hurry!
Demon Knight. It's music from and inspired by the motion picture Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight. Still, to this day, one of my all-time favorite horror comedies.
Yeah.
God damn, I love this movie so much. I just picked up the novelization. What are you still laughing about, Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk.
Wait, can you isolate that? Do you want a clean one? Do you want to put this down? Do you want a clean one?
Tony Hawk. So it's got Ministry, Pantera, Biohazard, Melvins, Machine Head, Megadeth, Sepultura, Rollins Band, Filter, and horror gangster rap group, Gravediggers.
It's an AZ?
AZ.
Diggers.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, of course. This is such a banger. This is a limited edition of 1100 in neon green opaque vinyl.
Hey now.
I fucking love this movie. I love this soundtrack. It was my first metal album. Yeah, Cemetery Gates is just such a baller tune. Cemetery Gates is so good. So that's mine. Next.
Number 3?
Noel.
Are we on 3?
Yeah.
We're on 3.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Now, why Volume 3 over Volumes 2 and 1?
So the concept of all these albums is that they're mixtapes, and they're usually kind of moored in an era of music. So the first movie is the 70s. The second movie is 80s, breaching into 90s, and this one's 90s, 2000s.
Okay.
And this is more my youth. Like there's excellent bangers on the other two, but this one with Radiohead, Space Hog, Faith No More, Mowgli's, Beastie Boys, Replacements, Heart, X, Florence and the Machine. It's just it's
Florence and the Machine.
it's basically the climax of the movie is a giant dance number to Dog Days Are Over. Do you remember this?
I do. I haven't seen this movie since the theater, I don't think.
It holds up so hard. I love this movie. Either way,
Florence and the Machine does not, it seems incongruous with the rest of the album. Am I crazy?
So at the end of the movie, he's got his Zune and he flicks to 2000s.
It's the new.
So I
like forgot about that.
the movie itself uses the songs and the tracks to propel the plot.
Yeah.
It's a perfect marriage, and I think this one is, and maybe this one is the strongest to me because it's on the backs of the other two.
Yeah.
And these all could have been ties, but I
I still like
this one.
my favorite is still the first one, just because of. I guess maybe I just listened to it so much. I've never actually listened to the soundtrack.
First one is my honorable mention.
good,
Guardians
right?
Volume 1.
The second one almost made it just because of Fleetwood Mac. But this one, I used to obsessively listen to Space Hog, and the fact that it was the song in the trailer, I'm like,
I don't even know if I know Space Hog.
in the meantime, that song?
Okay.
Fuck off.
I'll tell you my one note about this. My least favorite version of Creep
Oh, the
is
acoustic
this
version?
acoustic version by Radiohead. Don't like it.
I think it's the most haunting version, which is the perfect for the flick.
Bleh.
Anyway, that's
Anyway,
my number
nice,
3.
nice.
Thank you for
Good
shitting
pick.
on it.
No, it's a good pick.
No, you're trash.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
My real friend.
Dylan?
What's your number 2? Or do we want to do honorable mentions and then number 2s, or number 2s and then
We'll
honorable
do
mentions?
number 2s. We'll take our big old dumpies, and then we'll do our honorable mentions.
Shit out your number 2.
Scream.
Oh yeah, well, I'm sorry, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did
You
you say-
got me these earrings.
Did
You
say
and
the
Sam.
band Cream?
I think Cream.
Cream.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a super
Noel
group.
and his wife Sam, my dear friends, got me these cute little earrings.
Oh.
Scream
I like
earrings for
those
my
a lot.
birthday. So I
Scream
wore them
earrings?
because I knew Scream was my number 2.
What's your favorite song on the Scream soundtrack?
Honestly, the Don't Fear the Reaper, Gus Black.
Oh, that's
Love that one.
I
Also, Red Right Hand, classic.
there it is.
Yeah.
there
It's
it is.
on every one.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
right.
That's why I love it.
Yeah,
It's my
It
favorite
is-
little.
It is. It's just. It's part of the DNA of Scream now.
Yeah.
The Red Right Hand.
The
Nick Cave.
the Youth of America song is fantastic.
Youth
That's
of
a good
America is
one.
great. It's
That's a
all
good one.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, all of it's good.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's
Nice.
yeah.
It's a good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack.
And my favorite song on the soundtrack's not in the soundtrack. It's the Republica song, Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah.
They did a music video for it.
Yep.
It's in the movie. It's just not on the soundtrack.
That's
Yep.
so weird.
Yeah.
My number 2 is The Crow.
Nice.
Again, I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
It is.
Talk about it more. We should do
so-
a whole episode about it.
About
I
the Crow?
feel like we may. No, you know what? Who cares?
Let's do another.
Nobody likes it. It's no big deal. I heard that the remake is banger though.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, that's the soundtrack I thought you meant.
Yeah, the new one.
Don't hit me.
FKA Twigs, the whole thing, right?
So, Burn by The Cure.
Yeah.
So good. Big Empty, Stone Temple Pilots, also a banger. I'm not a big STP fan.
That's my
That's a good one.
favorite Nirvana song. The Nirvana song in here. Don't they have a song? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's the STP song. Keep going.
Yeah. After the Flesh by I like the song After the Flesh by My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult so much that I went and bought a My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult album. Sounds nothing like After the Flesh. None of their songs sound anything like After the Flesh.
That's true.
It's like, what is happening? And then the 9 Inch Nails song, Dead Souls, no idea that it was a remake.
Oh.
No idea.
Yeah, I had a.
Oh, I think I knew that.
Good Rage Against the Machine song on here.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that always pissed me off about this album, though, is there is a song by Rollins Band. You think pretty cool. And then it's about Ghost Rider. It is about the literal Marvel character, the Ghost Rider, that has fuck all to do with the Crow. But they were just like, it's a comic book. I guess just put it on there. It's like there's no reason for
No
Ghost
one's gonna
Rider.
notice.
Yeah. You did a comic book movie soundtrack and then put an entirely different song about an entirely different superhero.
Whoops.
Fuck out of here.
But it's your second favorite.
Yeah. So dumb. Love
It's
it.
so good. I love it.
I'm cheating. I have a tie. I'm a sucker for movie musicals. Absolutely adore them when they're done right.
Can I? No, I'm good.
So it's a tie between, for number 2, Moulin Rouge,
Yep.
which is postmodern, almost punk, weird version of the musical. It's a jukebox musical that is remixed to high heaven, and it's beautiful. And The Greatest Showman, which is an original
I've never
movie musical.
I
it's
didn't even think of that.
it's so on the sleeve, surface level, corny, but it's so well
From
done.
now on, chills every time.
Yes, every time.
Every time.
And even though it's like the Rigovi commercial, I still This Is
Yeah.
Me is still
Yeah.
it still works. And then just in the context of the movie, the choreography of like from scene to scene and how they use the music is just so fucking cool. It it's earnest, and I just appreciate the shit out of it. I love this movie.
Damn.
It's also so not accurate whatsoever in regards to P.T. Barnum.
And I didn't want
wildly
to interrupt you.
inaccurate.
P.T. Barnum sucks.
Garbage person.
He was a terrible person.
But Hugh Jackman,
Delightful.
American and Australian treasure.
We're taking him though. We need a win.
Both of them. So that's my number 2 is because I love musicals so much, and these two kind of represent a good 20-year span of
honorable mention.
postmodern musicals and like an earnest 2000s version of a classic musical.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
If we're gonna do musicals,
It depends.
can I do
These are both original musicals.
Encanto and Moana?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those I love. Those are some of my honorable mentions. I love both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in play. Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. I didn't have any besides Guardians of the Galaxy until you just mentioned musicals. And then you mentioned Greatest Showman, which has Zac Efron in it. Honestly, unironically, I love High School Musical. All of them. Every single
I've
one.
never seen them.
All of them.
All of them.
You're good.
All of them. I watched 2 of them.
Grant Gustin.
All right. We're going to do,
That's Glee.
That's Glee.
That's
after we finish the Twilight,
Oh no!
we're going to do High School Musical.
Damn it!
High School Musical is like earnest 13-year-old pumping fists when you talk kind of a musical.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're like,
Third one, though, that was the major motion picture that was like in theaters. Soundtrack is pretty banger.
I actually do. I like the third one's not that bad.
Are back? Come on.
I worked at Disney and then also was like part-timing at Hallmark. So like High School Musical, you couldn't even like escape it.
Yeah.
Like everything sang it. Every commercial was like, it was just everywhere. So I was like, yeah, I just
it came out-
osmosis, knew it.
When I was 12 going on 13, I was
You're perfect
age
for
for
it.
it.
And again,
Adorable.
yeah.
teenage girls are
That's true.
the precursors
Zac
of everything.
Efron. We called it.
Yeah.
We called it.
What about you? Any
Oh,
other honorable mentions?
honorable mentions. I have. Let's see. What do I got?
You got all your honorable mentions right there.
So, The Guest is a wonderful soundtrack. It's a maudlin bit of
Synthwave.
synthwave. I don't have because it's so rare to have The Guest on vinyl
I have it.
that I can't afford it. But I do have The Guest 2 soundtrack on vinyl, which is a soundtrack to a movie that was never made. There is no movie The Guest 2, but they made a soundtrack for it anyway. That's a good honorable
Fantastic.
And then I think Noel got me into John Carpenter's Lost themes. So in the same way that The Guest 2 is a movie that never was created, but there's a soundtrack to it, my man's John Carpenter has done 3 or 4 Lost themes albums, which are themes to movies that don't exist.
Yeah, they're like ambient scores, creepy and moody and synthy.
Super great if you're just like, you got to sit down and get some work done, put on some Lost themes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Black Panther.
That's a good one. It's
Awesome.
a very good one.
Great album. I think that's all of them. Those are my honorable mentions.
My
Oh, no, shut up. Judgment Night.
oh yeah,
It's not a great soundtrack, but Judgment Night is one of the first times I've ever experienced rap rock.
Ah.
You had one in there. You didn't want to talk. It's not on your number 1 list. This one,
Yeah, I don't know.
Across Into the Spider-Verse, is an amazing album.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
But between the two, I just went Black.
I mean, you can have
Also
honorable mentions.
Into
You
the
can have more than
Spider-Verse.
one of them.
Also Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But yeah, Judgment Night was the first time I ever heard rap rock, which then became its own subgenre of music that is mostly hated these days. But they took actual rap, they took Pearl Jam, and then actual rap groups like Cypress Hill, and they mushed them together and made them work on songs together. Awesome.
You mentioned some of my my honorable mentions. I'll just do quickly the ones that you guys didn't hit. Hackers from 1995.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was listening to it on the way here. Absolutely great. It's a techno soundtrack.
Techno, yeah.
Like early Prodigy.
Like rave.
I did have The Guest on here, but I also had The Guest / Drive,
Oh yeah.
which is only 4 songs and then all score, but they are like burned into the print of that movie, and they define the movie. Those 4 songs, The Matrix and Reloaded.
Yep.
Both of those are excellent soundtrack albums, with like everything from Rob Zombie to fucking crazy techno and that rapist guy who has some good songs. Marilyn Manson.
Ew.
I mean, the songs
I
on the
forgot about
soundtrack are great.
No, no, he's got some good songs.
And Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah, that one that was really close to making the list, but Moulin Rouge kind of kicked it out. It's a great album. But what are your number ones?
Number one.
Who wants to go first?
We don't have to get super into it because we did a few episodes ago. Twilight, 2008. It's gonna be my favorite forever. It's got all the songs I love, all the artists I love. It's just perfect for me.
Before coming to the show tonight, Sushan was telling me, she's like, I didn't really think about the Twilight
We were talking
album,
about it a little bit.
but then when Alice was talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, that is a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Does Sushan like Twilight?
No.
Oh.
No, we
I
were
was like,
talking about
does
the
she
soundtrack a little
want to
bit
join the
before
show and talk about Twilight?
Maybe. Go ahead, what?
I just was talking to Sushan about the soundtrack before we walked over here.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
What about you?
My number one. Oh wow, it's another Prince. I didn't even realize I've done this. Prince, Purple Rain.
Yeah, Purple Rain is like the album that they made a movie around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
It's the 6th studio album by Prince, and every song is a banger. Every single one. And interestingly enough, I did not know this. Darling Nikki?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the lyrics of Darling Nikki, was it Tipper Gore?
yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the reason you have explicit content stickers on albums now is because of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That and NWA, all around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this album,
so crazy.
This is a beautiful.
Doves Cry?
I love the movie.
Yeah.
I don't associate this with the soundtrack. It's just like a Prince album,
Right.
And it's just great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I believe it's all live, right? Was this entire album just like
so all
just
of
a
the
live
songs,
performance?
all of the songs why it's more of like an album and not like a soundtrack is everything is diegetic. They perform the songs in the context of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not like only for the audience to hear. So it's like a concert film that's got a narrative around it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Absolutely awesome.
So good.
But I think mine beats it. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't beat it. It's Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I was close, but there's a lot of songs on there that are skippers for me.
None of them.
Sorry.
They're all great.
Great.
Just they're all
Good
great.
choice. That was a good
Period. They're all great. Everything's great.
choice.
The original songs and the covers and the radio songs. They're all great.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Blue. Wait, what are we doing the week after next?
I don't know.
It is now March 5th.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is March 5th, and we'll figure
I
it
don't know
out.
what we're doing on the 12th.
Join us